If you're an INFJ, this has probably happened to you more times than you can count. You're standing in line for coffee, you've never met this person before, and somewhere between ordering and paying, they're telling you about their divorce. Or you're in a waiting room or on a plane, and a stranger turns to you and starts talking about the thing they've never said out loud to anyone. And at some point, somebody has looked at you and said, "I don't know why, but I feel like I can tell you this." I'm Taro. I'm a life coach and I work with INFJs. Today, I want to explain what's actually happening when that happens, because it isn't random, and it isn't because you're an easy target. It's a sign of something rare, something only a very small percentage of people on this planet carry. And I'm not just going to explain it. At the end, I'm going to show you how to turn that same ability away from draining you and toward your own life instead. So stay with me. Let me start with the things you've probably never told anyone you notice. People who barely know you bring you their heaviest problems. At work, the person who never opens up to anyone lets something slip in front of you, just you. You sit down next to someone and 10 minutes later they're telling you about their childhood. And here's the part that nobody talks about. You can't say no. You listen all the way to the end. You listen properly with your whole chest. And then they leave. Lighter, clearer, genuinely better. And you're the one left holding it. You get home and you're wiped out, and you can't quite explain why, because you didn't do anything. You just listened. And your own life, the things you've been meaning to deal with, quietly moves to the back of the line, again. If any of that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Now here's where most INFJs get it backwards. Somewhere along the way, you started to wonder if you were just convenient, if people come to you because you're the safe one, the useful one, the one who never pushes back. That's not what's happening, and I want you to look at it from the other direction. Ask yourself a different question. Not, why do people use me? Ask, why do people take their armor off in front of me? Because that's what they're doing. Most people walk around armored all day long. Don't look weak. Don't look unstable. Don't give anyone something to use against you. It's automatic. Most people don't even know they're doing it. But you pick up what's underneath before they say a word. The small change in someone's face. The tiny wobble in a voice that's trying to sound fine. That vague sense that something's off with someone who's smiling. Your antenna catches it, whether you asked it to or not. And here's what the other person feels, long before they can put it into words. This person already sees me. I don't have to perform here. Their body works that out faster than their mind does, so the armor comes off, in front of you, often only in front of you. That is not you being used. That's a frequency you carry, quietly loosening something in another human being that they've had knotted shut for years. And I want to be clear about this. Not everyone can do that. Most people can't. When I was teaching at an elementary school, there were many times when children quietly told me things they couldn't say to the other teachers. I didn't understand it back then. I just thought it was normal. I thought everyone had that. Now, here's the trap. And I say this as someone who fell all the way into it. This gift will drain you dry if you use it unconsciously. Because there's a line most INFJs have never been taught to see. The line between listening and carrying. Feeling what someone else feels, that's the gift. That's where your ability lives. But then you take it home with you. You replay the conversation at 11 at night. You turn their problem over and over like it's yours to solve. That part isn't your gift anymore. That's just self-sacrifice wearing your gift's clothes. You know the shape of it. They walk away lighter, and you're still carrying it 3 days later. You can listen to someone else's pain for 4 hours, and you can't tell a single person about your own. You're always the one asking, "Hey, are you okay?" And you genuinely can't remember the last time somebody asked you that. Here's what I want to say about that. It's not that you're not kind enough. Your kindness is enormous. It's just that every single bit of it is pointed outward. When I had my first girlfriend, I was desperate to make everything she said come true. I never said what I thought. I kept holding it in, and it was painful. I had lost sight of myself. That's not love. I thought it was for a long time, but losing yourself for someone isn't the same as loving them. So, what do you actually do about this? Here's the good news, and I mean this. You don't have to give anything up. You don't have to become colder or build walls or learn to stop caring. You just have to change the direction it points. I've got 3 things for you, and notice what they have in common. Not one of them is something new to work at. Every one of them is something to put down or something to allow yourself. First, turn that listening on yourself before you turn it on anyone else. Think about how absurd this is. You can walk into a room and know that someone across it is quietly not okay, and your own inner voice has been talking all day and you haven't answered once. So here's the whole practice. Once at the end of the day, ask yourself one question. How was I today? Actually. And then listen the way you'd listen to a friend. Not fixing, not judging, not immediately explaining why you shouldn't feel that way. That's it. That's the entire thing. And it fills something in you that other people's gratitude never quite does. Second, give yourself permission to separate listening from carrying. I want you to hear this clearly. The moment you listen to them, your part was finished. It's done. You already gave them something most people never receive in their entire lives. You don't have to fix their life. You were never assigned that. So you draw a quiet line inside yourself. Something like, I heard you, and this is your life. It isn't mine. That's not cold. That's not you abandoning anyone. That's the thing that lets you stay kind for 30 more years instead of burning out by 40. Third, stop feeling guilty about having a limit. Some days you don't have it. Some days you cannot be the container for one more person's pain, and that is allowed. You can say, I'm not really up for that today. You can say it without an essay explaining why. That's not selfish. That's adult. Because here's the truth about wells. A well that's run dry doesn't help anybody. You are allowed to fill yours first, not eventually. First. Now, if you've been listening closely, you might have noticed something. This was never really a video about listening. It's a video about the fact that you're allowed to matter to yourself. You are kind enough that strangers hand you their real lives within 5 minutes of meeting you. That's who you are. But that kindness was never meant to be the reason you come last. You're allowed to point it at yourself first. I know that if you're an INFJ, life has probably felt harder than it looks like it should. Too much feeling, too much noticing, too much of everything, all the time. That sensitivity was never the defect. It was always the ability. You just had it aimed in one direction. Turn it around. Take the part of you that's been spent on everyone else and spend some of it on loving who you actually are. When I did that, things in my own life started moving that hadn't moved in years. I'm not promising you a specific outcome. I'm telling you what happened to me. There's a tree in Japan I think about a lot. The plum tree blooms at the tail end of winter, weeks before the cherry blossoms that everybody gathers to photograph. And the plum tree never once tries to become a cherry tree. It doesn't wait for the crowd. It just blooms when it's time, in the cold, and it smells extraordinary. You're allowed to bloom as what you already are. You're okay, exactly as you are. One last thing before I go. Some of you listening to this have felt something move while I was talking. Not, that was nice. Something more like, what if this thing I've been doing by accident my whole life was actually meant for something? For some reason, I understand what the other person wants to say. I can find what they've kept deep inside, unable to tell anyone, and give them the push to say it. Or I can say it for them. I can tell from the faintest feeling in the air. Being able to read the subtleties of a person's heart, I was finally able to use that as my own talent in the true sense. And it happened after I made a decision. It was after I decided to help INFJs who, like I used to be, had been suffering without understanding themselves, to help them find their true selves, that I was able to make use of my talent. I'm not telling you to do what I did. I'm telling you it's a door that exists. If you'd like to understand your own type more clearly, there's a free 4-question quiz on my website. It takes about a minute. The link's in the description. That's all it is. No pressure. No follow-up you didn't ask for. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. That means a lot to me. I hope that kindness of yours reaches you first for once. I'll see you in the next one.